Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Single best idea. And my single best idea was just thank you to all that I saw on the travels to Rome who take part in the podcasts, take part in YouTube, and really all the new distribution. I completely underestimate the power of this new digital distribution. And I'll tell you, it was something to hear about it in Rome and travels thereabouts. One of the great things is to come back to a good opinions on the equity markets. Gina Martin Adams with Paul Sweeney yesterday. And today, we'll get to Brian Belski here in a moment. But Mike Wilson with us. One of the great features of Wilson, like Gina Martin Adams, is you got to be in the market. It's nothing, go to cash, do this, do this, do this. But here is an interesting idea. Mike Wilson, I'm trying to guess out 7 years or 10 years to a set of outcomes, a fan distribution.
I think it depends on how you utilize them. I mean, we do a bull bear base case. We've done that for, the duration of as long as we've had this job. And I think every investor does that. It's called a risk reward. It's what's my upside, what's my downside. And then you basically skew your positioning based on whether you think the downside or upside case is more likely, whether we're talking about a single stock or the S&P 500. So it's no different. I don't think that's a unique approach. I think that's the way most investors think about how to put money to work. And so I think it works, but I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to be right. That's the thing. Like do you bet on the bull case or you bet on the bear case at any given time? Depends on how things play out. Is it play out the way you think it plays out? And
part of that on the bull case, the bear case is the cash case. That is a modern market timing thing that we see here. Mike Wilson, I'm trying to time the markets.
Oh yeah, there's a whole graveyard of market timers. We do it as part of our job. I mean, we're asked by clients to kind of, whether it's the S&P 500 or sectors or stocks. I mean, that's our job, and that's most asset managers' job is to try and time when to buy certain stocks or do certain things with their investments. And I mean, look, sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. I would say we had a stretch where I feel like we got everything right, and of course that never lasts. The good news about investing is you can always change your mind, which we've done, and we've raised our targets and we've changed our strategy to deal with what the market's giving us. And that's really the game, is just take what the market gives you. Don't fight what the market's telling you. That's the best analyst in the world, is what the market internals are saying. We use it as part of our process, actually, and I think that's the best way to be. Is just be humble about it, and don't be afraid to say, hey, we were wrong. I mean, like, I think some people are expected to be right all the time, and nobody is. And being wrong is not a sin. It's just, staying on the wrong side of things for too long is a problem.
Mike Wilson of Morgan Stanley. And then we talked to Brian Belski. What a moment there to talk to Michael Barr and Brian Belski about the NFL North, the Lions, big win over the Vikings. It was great. They really dug into that. And, of course, we look forward to Thanksgiving, important holiday. I believe it's Lions-Bears will be that 12 noon game that is such a tradition for the nation. Another tradition is to try to guess a bull market. Brian Belski of BMO Capital Markets has just absolutely nailed the bull call. Here, Belski on The View Forward.
I think stay invested. I think trying not to time. I think people have become so afraid to be wrong, they don't want to be right. I think part of this is a function of what happened during the tech wreck that was exacerbated during the great financial crisis, which created the generational buying opportunity in 2009 when we came out with our 25-year secular bull market call in 2010. So we remain resolute on this. We're entering year 3 of the bull. And I think, going forward, our longer-term trend has been normalization. We've been talking about it for 3 years.
Brian Belski, he framed up beautifully, okay, double-digit, 13, 12, 14% returns. Maybe not, but then subsiding down to some form of low double-digit, high single-digit world for Brian Belski of BMO Capital Markets. We're out on YouTube. Subscribe to Bloomberg Podcast, growing each and every day. Just thrilled with a live chat effort that we've got there as well, on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Major shout-out to people on Spotify. I have underplayed this totally. I don't do Spotify. Full disclosure, but it's a huge deal. Spotify podcasts, YouTube podcasts, Apple podcasts, which is always single best idea.